Lady K.
Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Lady K Chat, a podcast that is designed for men and women to become better versions of themselves, which is broadcast every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Various subjects will be spoken upon, such as relationships, health and wellness, personal development, wealth building, children, and so much more. She is a two-time Amazon best-selling author, an international speaker, and life coach. She is Lady K. And now for your host, Lady K.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Lady K Chat podcast. Today we have a very special subject that we have to touch base on, and it's called Queen Fix Your Crown. And I have the lovely Miss Lourna Charles with me. She came back. I love her. I love her presence. And ladies, we just have to have this deep conversation because right now Lady K is a little bit annoyed. But I'm going to tell you why I'm annoyed. I'm not going to talk about it yet, but I'm going to play this clip first. I want you to watch this clip, and you're going to see why Lady K is annoyed and why me and Miss Charles came together so we can talk about this topic, because we need you to fix your crown. All right, guys, so now we are back. So now me and Miss Lourna Charles, we're going to break this down because I just... mind blowing, huh? It really is. I don't even know what. Y'all see me, right? I'll be like, did she really do that? And pregnant? Girl, if you don't get up, I want to slap you. Where your daddy at? Who is your daddy? What did your daddy teach you?
Right.
Ms. Lourna, you want to
it's very cringy. Very cringy.
Right.
To watch our fellow young ladies proposing to men. I mean, when did this become a thing?
I don't know. And Ms. Lourna just said the key word. She said, young ladies. You don't see no older, mature woman doing this. So I'm trying to figure out, when did they find out that this was acceptable?
You know, I think there's this notion of I can do anything you can do, or I can even do it better. And we're not allowing our men to be men.
Right.
I mean, we're the prize. We are the prize. I mean, the male is to provide and protect.
Right.
We are the prize.
Right.
And I think somewhere along the way, we have forgotten,
Right.
who we are as individuals. And I think a lot of that has to do with societal norms now. We're normalizing things that are normal for male.
Right.
We think if a man can do this, I can do it too. Probably yes, but there are limitations. There are restrictions.
Right.
Men are men, and they have their specific roles. And for us as female, we have a specific role that we play as well.
Absolutely.
But when you live in a society where you're told that, there's pretty much everything goes.
Right.
Everything
exactly.
goes. And because everything goes, that you find ladies in positions of kneeling down to propose to a man. Unacceptable.
I'm trying to figure out, I don't want to throw no shade at nobody, but I'm really trying to figure out, are these ladies, do they got daddy issues?
There has to be a lack of a male role model in the home.
Right.
Because if you have a father figure and you're being taught what the male's role is and what the female's role is, there is no way you will find yourself thinking it's acceptable to propose to a man, because your daddy, whomever was in that position, would have told you, baby, you are the prize. You are the prize. When a young man is ready to marry you, he will get down on one knee and he will propose to you. But I think we have lost the essence of what makes us different as male and female.
Right. And you know what? Because Ms. Lourna does touch base on that, I just want to share a small story about what my daddy taught me. And so we're talking about providers. So when I look at not just my dad, but just the men in my family, I'm on this providing, they are excellent providers. And just recently I went to go visit him, right? And I was having a conversation with him, and I said, you know what, you really set the bar for me, because when dudes come and approach me, I really have standards. Like, I'm not accepting, like I just don't care. So long story short, I was in the bathroom and him and his wife was about to leave. And he said, all right, we're about to leave. And I said, okay. And I come out and I grab my keys and my wallet. And I also see some money on the table. And that's what I'm used to. And not only my daddy, but my mom too. So it was like I never had to want for nothing, because not to say that my parents was wealthy, but they was, you know, they did pretty good for themselves. So they always gave me that. And I said, because I had that, that's the bar that I set for any man that's going to come into my life. And I'm saying all this because that, yes, when you are in a partnership, yes, you're giving and taking, but like Ms. Lourna says, I'm the prize, okay? But I also, too, am going to reciprocate how you should be treated as a man, because my daddy told me that. So if I can put a smile on my face because he just gave me some nice money, I'm going to be like, you know what? I love that man. Thank you so much. And every time I get a chance, I want to do something nice for him. See, and that's the part where we come in as ladies. Your husband do something nice for you, you do something nice for him. It's reciprocated, right?
The partner does something nice, reciprocated.
Right. So
I think a lot of that has to do with also just self-worth.
Right.
Sometimes I think people, they get involved in relationships and their self-esteem takes a beat down. So the next person they're in a relationship with, they don't have the same values they used to have. They don't view themselves the same way they did prior to that last beat down.
Right.
They receive. So they compromise. They lower their standard, and sometimes it's to their detriment. You know?
right. Right, the standards, and that's why we basically say, Queen, fix your crown. We're not here to belittle you, but we're just here to let you know, again, you are the prize. And that man, you know, he should be attempting to approach you. But here's the thing, ladies, I think sometimes we cave in too soon. Like, we get in too soon. We don't let him do the work that he's supposed to do. A man is a chaser. He chases. Give him something to chase. So, hold on. So, in one of my episodes, I briefly talked about this, ladies, because you know the whole thing about the bonnet thing, right? I gotta kind of go there, right? This is how I feel. You should be wearing, especially African American women, you should be wearing your bonnet at night to protect your hair, because you know we have to protect our hairstyle, right? Yes, the edges, girl, too. Yes, the edges are so sensitive. Okay, let me tell you, right? So I get that part. But then I also said, too, when you are home with your man, you want to give him something to look at. Take that bonnet off, put on some stretchies, put on a nice top, fix your hair. You know, how you in the house all the time, people supposed to accept me for who I am. No, see, you're confusing what accept you for who you are. Your personality and how you look. It's two different things. So if you was looking sharp in the beginning when you first got him, you want to keep that up. Just like the same thing. You want him to keep up chasing you.
Presentation matters.
Absolutely.
Just like when we go to a restaurant, you know, with your eyes, you know, presentation matters. You want to present your best self. Period. Wherever you are, whether it's at home, in the home setting, or outside, you want to present your best self.
Absolutely. And growing up too, one thing I love about my mom, you know, she used to walk around the house looking cute. I'm like, Mommy, who are you looking cute for? You know, him? She'd be like, please, it's for me first. And you don't know what that has done for me over the years, because my mother continued to say that it's for me first. Ladies, I need you to get into that concept. You should be wanting to dress up for you first, because you feel good about yourself. Like Ms. Lourna said, it's all about the self-esteem. If you're walking around in baggy jeans or baggy sweats all the time, that says something about your self-esteem.
I mean, there's a time and place for all that.
Yes, there is. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, comfort is comfort.
Right.
But when you're going outside, you want to present yourself in a way that, you know, if you should be an employer, your future employer that, you know, they hire you.
Right.
Whether it's an interview or not.
Right.
You know?
And you know what? It's funny. You should have that mentality every day stepping out your house. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know who might come across you. This is how your presentation, because if your presentation is not right, how do you know if that person even wants to approach you? So I think that's the mindset that we have to start to conform ourselves. I never know. You never know. But I think sometimes we get too complacent.
We get too complacent, yes. Monique, in her bonnet chronicles, that's the thing that's very poignant. She said, you know, comfort, I understand the comfort part.
Right.
Comfort matters. At the same time, you want to present yourself well.
Right.
When you present yourself, when you make yourself up, you feel better.
You do.
You know, when you look good, you feel good.
Right.
So look, make yourself desirable, not just for the person that you're hoping to attract, but also to attract you. You want to feel good for yourself.
Right. You want to feel good for yourself because, you know, that's and that's you building up your self-esteem. Even on the days when you're like, I don't feel like it, because we all have days we don't feel like it, especially when we get our monthly and we don't feel good. You know what I made myself do? Even on those days when I don't feel good, I say, you know, you still show up and you show out. And that's my thought process, and that's what I want to continue to keep. Because I want to let people know, yes, I am a keeper of myself before I can be a keeper for somebody else.
Yes.
Can I get a hallelujah?
Hallelujah. I love that. I love that, because here's the thing. If you're comfortable in who you are, if you're comfortable with yourself, it's easy for others to be around. But when you're not feeling your best, you don't attract the best, right? If you're wanting to attract the best, you have to be the best and look the best.
Absolutely. Right? Lorna, let me tell you something. You said a key thing. How you look, sometimes it's what you're going to attract. And I'm sorry, there are predators out there, and they know what to look for. They know to go for that girl with the self-esteem. They know to go for that girl with the low self-worth. They know that. But when you are a certain woman in a certain caliber, they won't even come to you, because they know in order for them to talk to you, they will have to step their game up. And they don't want to step their game up, but they're going to put on the persona, like, you know, yes, I'm this night and Sharma, but ladies, as you continue to see this man, you're going to see his flaws early, and the more you do this, you're going to be sharp. Like, perfect example, I'm in this group, right? This guy random came across my page. Oh my God, you look so beautiful, miss. Oh my God, yada, yada, yada. I said, listen, sir, I thank you for your compliment. Thank you. And so my next thing was like, you know, next, like, what's next, right? So for 2 or 3 days, he's sending me these corny poetry. And I'm like, listen, this stuff is nice, but what else next? And then he started hitting with you know, the excuses. Guess what happened? Blocked! Lady K don't have time. I already smelt it. I knew it, but I was just waiting for the excuse. I don't have time. I'm a woman that I know what I want. And so when you know what you want, you know what you're not going to accept.
Yes. When you stand in your truth, others have to comply.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as far as this woman, pregnant, getting down on one knee.
My heart broke for her.
For real.
Oh my God.
And she looked young.
Yeah, she did. She did. My question is, what would bring a young person to do that? In her condition, especially.
Right.
Is it that she was hoping that this would give her the answer she needs to move forward? If I propose to this man and he rejects me, then I have the answer I need to move forward. But what would it take that to even decide? I don't know.
I don't know either.
It was a very cringy. I'm hoping that, you know, she gets some good, you know, counseling.
Right.
To learn to love herself.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying she doesn't love herself, but clearly there's some disconnect.
Right.
So I'm hopeful that, you know, she will get in the right space. She will be feeling necessary.
Right. And I think also too, sometimes like we just don't know. Like sometimes younger, they just don't know. And this is why it is pivotal for a seasoned woman, a mature woman, to go and speak to these ladies. This is why I'm so passionate, because I did have that low self-esteem. I did have that battle when people constantly tell me, oh, you're beautiful, but I didn't feel beautiful. You see what I'm saying? And there's a lot of women that's out there. They're gorgeous.
Oh my
yes,
God.
They're beautiful, and you're questioning your self-worth. And it's like, I don't know if it's, you know, and a lot, they do say it stem from your childhood. I think for mine, it did stem from my childhood, because I think back then, like, you know, in the 90s and the early 2000s, you know, now it's acceptable to be a little bit thick, but back then, you know, you had to be the stick figure. And it's so funny, I was actually a size 9, 10, and I consider myself, when I look now, I consider myself skinny, but back then, I thought I was fat, and I really thought in order for me to, you know, to get some type of man, I had to lose that weight. And this is me in my teenage years, feeling this way, feeling so insecure when so many people say, oh, you're beautiful. And I'm like, well, I don't feel beautiful.
You are gorgeous, Miss Khalifa. Oh
but
my goodness.
Remember, I was 16, 17, 18, and I attracted the wrong guy. And he knew I was battling my self-worth, and that was the first time I ever experienced a narcissist. But at that time, I didn't recognize it, but me reflected back. He did everything that he could do in my power to destroy my self-confidence. So I was like, okay, I see you now. So I'm happy I got to experience that. Sometimes, the experience is the best teacher, but again, just going back to what I said before, when you want to teach these young girls because they don't know, but now when you're wiser, you can smell them a mile away. Talk about that a little bit, the narcissist.
The narcissist, I mean, they look for people with no self-confidence. They can smell it. And it takes me back to that Derek Jackson video.
Oh gosh.
Here he was. He looked so buff. I think he had just came from the gym.
Right, he looked
he actually flicked, I think, a piece of lint off his trouser, and his wife presented the way she presented. Now she's a beautiful girl,
very beautiful,
beautiful young lady. But because of who he is, he allowed her to present herself the way that she did.
That part right there.
You just have to know your worth. When you know your worth, a man has to comply.
Right.
He has to comply.
Right. Back to what she was saying. When I saw her in her bonnet, and I saw how she was looking, exactly. I said to myself, and I didn't even have to know too much, but here's the little things that you pay attention to. Any man, if you're gonna have your woman, especially your wife sitting next to you, you want her to represent you because you're representing her. So like Ms. Lourna says, so you looking fly, but your wife is looking like that, you can say, no, baby, go and change. But that should tell you something about yourself and your ego. His ego was totally stroked by her looking that way. And then he got mad, everybody's bashing her wife because you allowed her to come on the internet looking like that. What do you expect?
It was just a very sad situation, and it takes me back to, when you don't have the proper nurturing, the proper male nurturing, you're liable to accept a man who treats you a certain way, right? You're liable to attract the narcissist because you don't know better. When you have a stable, solid male figure in your life who can model to you what a good man is, what a good man should be, you know what to look for. You will not just settle for someone who's a narcissist who will tell you what you need to do just to get what they want. You learn to understand their value system. Do their value system match mine? Right. Is this someone I can do life with? These are very important things. Not just seeing someone for the surface for what they look like, but understanding, do we have similar value systems?
Right. That is really important because that is something that I just start to dig deeper in myself as I go out there in the dating scene. Do our value match? And I hear so many people, and I ain't knocking nobody, but I hear so many people in poly relationships. I'm not down with that. So y'all can keep the poly over there. But here's the thing, that men, what I don't like, I feel like you take away our rights because you meet the lady, you think she's beautiful, but you don't tell her up front what you want. And this is why, in somewhat degree, I respect Akon, because Akon put it out there. He said, listen, I don't believe in just being with one woman. He said, I'm going to be with multiple. He said, when I first meet you, I tell you. So I respect him because it's kind of like he gave you that dignity to say, this is what I'm about. Now it's your choice, to say, okay, I don't want to rock with this or I don't. And I think for the men who feel like they don't want to tell you that, those are the ones you really got to be careful of. Like, you really do, because like, why didn't you give me the ability to make that decision?
You respect me enough.
But you didn't respect me enough. Right.
So knowing, let's circle back to understanding yourself, knowing your self-worth, having self-respect, it is so important. And who you're deciding to be like with. Also, what you tolerate from others, right? What you tolerate from others. And not just that video with the lady who was pregnant. I've seen several videos of young black females, young black ladies proposing to men. Right. In the two instances, he walked away and just left her there. And I was like, oh my God, where is her village?
Right.
Where are the grandmamas,
Right.
the church ladies, the mamas, the ladies? Come and surround her. Help her build up her self-esteem.
Right.
So she'll know her worth.
Right.
Knowing your worth, knowing one's worth is so important.
Right. And don't tear her down. Don't be like, oh, you stink. Don't do that. Because at one point we was all naive. Okay? We was all naive. Okay? I'm gonna repeat that at one point. So again, it's all about your approach. So again, I say this to the elders and to the mature ladies. When you see ladies like this in this position, I really feel like it's our duty, but I also feel like with society, everybody's kind of getting that to the mindset, I'm gonna mind my business. That part right there, I'm kind of like, to a certain extent, no.
I mean, helping a young lady fix her crown.
Right.
If my crown is crooked,
Right.
please, Lady K, help me fix my crown.
Right.
That's gonna help you fix it.
And I'm gonna do it in
right?
secret too. I'm not gonna
Right.
expose. I'm gonna put you to the side and say, hey, you know, 'cause that's something too. I respect that. I respect that so much for someone to pull me to the side and say, hey, you know, X, Y, and Z, versus than just look at me and just let me stay there and look stupid. So it was like, are you really a friend? Do you really love me? Do you really care about me, like you said? Because if you did, you would go ahead and say, at least you open your mouth and say something. Now, it's all about how the person's going to receive it. That's a different story, but at least you took your stance in your place and you opened up your mouth and you said something.
You know, I always, say it's the approach.
Right.
It's not really the message, it's how it's presented.
Right.
If you say something in love, even if the person can be defensive, but if it's genuine love, they will see that. They will see that. They may not accept it right away, but in time they'll come to know they say this person loves me, and that's why they say what they say.
Right, and I think, like Lourna said, going with the approach, sometimes I think us in our community sometimes a little bit
aggressive.
A little aggressive. I think that is something that we have to learn to work on, because that's one of my biggest things that I want to make sure that I don't come up, because I know I can be assertive, but I want to be assertive in a silent way, not to the point where it hurts you. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that that I keep in mind on my approach to people, and I want to share that with other women too. Sometimes we get so defensive, but she this, and it's like, well, but what about your approach? You know, being a good person is great, but your approach is everything. And then you have to have self-awareness. Are you aware of how abrasive you are? And sometimes we are abrasive.
You know what? To read another piece of this, which is the social media piece, right? I think we're living in such a social media-driven society that sometimes, even if we're correcting the person, we have a camera on their face. And, and we have all the intention to post the good that we supposedly just did. But
Right.
because you posted it, you just canceled the good. Why not correct the person? Why not address the private?
Right.
Because you want to give people the dignity.
Right.
The dignity to kind of, be okay and process their stuff without having it be out there. Now they have to defend themselves.
Right.
And that's why people get defensive too. Because you did do something good, but then you posted it.
Right.
And
it's like, what was that for? Again, I'm just going to reiterate this because I have to stress this again. I think it's up to us, for the ones that's aware, that have the wisdom, that have the knowledge, to come in and play, to help these young ladies, to let them know about their self-worth, to let them know, again, they are the prize, and also to the men in our community, the daddies, the uncles, the brothers. Y'all definitely have to play a role too, because she needs to see that example of what a man, again, should look like, and not only what he looks like, it's how he treats her and what to expect.
And it goes back to the childhood nurturing. What basic upbringing of that individual. I know in our society, in our black community especially, right, there's this fractured family system where the man is often missing.
Right.
And that is I think that's a big reason for the breakdown in the self-esteem of these young ladies. There was not adequate, fathering done. Not, they had a father figure available to them to teach them,
Right.
what is the acceptable way a man should treat you. So therefore, they have to learn things on their own. And when you're young, the frontal lobe isn't even fully developed.
Right.
So now you're figuring out life, muddling through life on your own. And that's why you have people thinking it's okay that I assume the more masculine role and take control, take charge.
Right.
And I'm going to propose. Just know your worth, And I'm hoping that you will go back to what used to work. For men, being in the home, staying with your partner, life gets hard.
Right.
You don't just make babies and walk away. These babies needs not just financial support, but also emotional support. Teaching them values, tools that they're going to need in order to have an effective life. So the men being very present, and I know relationships don't always work out.
Right.
That's fine. You don't have to be with the mother, but your child still needs rearing.
Right.
So being there to be part of the raising of the children is important, because what you have to teach is important.
Yes. And just before we go, I'm going to piggyback a little bit what Ms. Lourna said. I think it's so crucial for a woman to choose a man wisely, because when you do come together in that union and you bring forth a child, you're going to keep going through the cycle of, oh, he's not there. Because there's so many women that single mothers, and sometimes they don't even want to be bothered because of what they see other people go through and what their person going through. So I think ladies also too, we really have to be careful who we choose as a partner and who we choose as who we want us to be a part of. When it comes to fathering and stuff like that, that's really, what's the word I'm looking for? That's very important, because if we want to break the cycle, then we're going to have to do something different. And this is an education. So when you are educated properly, you're going to make better decisions. So Queens, fix your crown. I hope this message was very receptive to you today. I want to thank my guest, Ms. Lourna Charles. Thank you so much, Lourna. I appreciate it. Queens, this is the last episode of the season. Get ready for Wednesday walks. And, Lady K will be on hiatus until September, so I'm looking forward to coming back in September with some great themes. And like I said, check out Wednesday walks at 2 p.m. here on the Lady K Chat Podcast. Continue to follow us at the Lady K Chat Podcast on IGTV, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. We everywhere. Just Google us. Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
Lady K.